Rave Reviews welcomes you to Tuesday's Terrors, where we have casual conversations about what the horror community is watching. Pull up a chair, grab a drink, and join us for Tuesday's Terrors. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Alan with Grave Reviews, and we are once again bringing you Tuesday's Terrors. How are you doing, Chris?
I'm doing well on this Tuesday evening.
Yeah, at the time of this recording, we're pretending that it's Tuesday because we pre-record these. So just so you're aware, a little housekeeping, if you will. On Grave Reviews, we present Thursday Night Frights, which is every Thursday, is a live show where we interact. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Alan with Grave Reviews, and we are once again bringing you Tuesday's Terrors. How are you doing, Chris?
I'm doing well on this Tuesday evening.
Yeah, at the time of this recording, we're pretending that it's Tuesday because we pre-record these. So just so you're aware, a little housekeeping, if you will. On Grave Reviews, we present Thursday Night Frights, which is every Thursday, is a live show where we interact with our chat room, or as we like to call them, our Talking Dead, and we review new review movies. We review the good, the bad. We tell you if they're hot. We tell you if they're schlock, and we rate them, and then we put them on our sometimes hilarious, intentionally tasteless or shit list. And the reason we call it the shit list is because every time we look at it, we say, "Oh shit, we did that." So,
We did a lot of that.
and we've done a lot of that. So we've got that on Thursdays, and then Tuesdays we pre-record. And Tuesdays, as I said, we pre-record. It's not just movie reviews. We'll do big anniversaries. We'll do a written word, and we'll do serials like we're doing now. And That's what we do on Tuesdays, where it's pre-recorded, but Chris and I are live in the chat room with you and talk with you at that point in time. Chris, would you like to tell everyone what we're getting ready to jump into?
We are ready to jump into a series in the Flanigan verse that is Mike Flanigan and his creations. This was created 2 years ago in 20, no, 3 years ago now. It's
3 years ago.
2021.
Wow.
And we're creeping up on the 3 year anniversary in September. Midnight Mass,
Yes.
a gothic supernatural type horror, and a very we had talked about this at one point. It's a sophisticated type horror
Yes.
that
Yes.
he is a good storyteller, and he is going to tell you a story and set you up before we're going to touch the horror a lot of times.
Yep. So what Mike Flanagan does is really great. He's a writer and or director. His writing and directorial style is very character first,
Mhm.
scare second. And that allows for the dread and fearful moments to be of a much higher impact because you're either really going to love this character or you're really going to hate this character. And
Right.
so when they meet their demise, it's more hurtful or more impactful to you. I also love the fact that he takes the time to allow his characters to have lengthy and realistic conversations. Uh, they're weighty, they're emotional. There's been more than once during midnight mass that I've had to wipe the tears off my cheeks, or I sit there with my mouth hanging open, going, "Oh my God!"
Yeah.
They really delve into some great things that really make you ask questions of yourself, which is really awesome.
Mhm.
Um, the thing that's strange about that is that there are those people who will sometimes say, "Oh my God, it's such a slow burn," but there is never a piece of dialogue in his movies that doesn't pay off in the end. You see it over and
Mhm.
over again, whether it's this movie show, but Oculus, Doctor Sleep. He's got one of the really rare things where he came into a franchise called Ouija and did the second
Right.
one. Had nothing to do with the first one. The second one is fantastic, and the first one's a heaping dump fire of
Yeah.
dumpster shit.
Smell
It's
bad.
oh, real bad. He did a movie called Hush that was actually starring and co-written by his wife, Kate
Mhm.
Siegel, who I kind of
She's a
have.
great actress.
She's a great
She's
actress, and I have a little bit of a
she's a
crush on her.
beautiful woman, great actress. He's Flanagan is great for bringing people that he's worked with before into
I love
the
that.
next show, and it works out well because you have this chemistry between your writer director and the people that are playing the characters that this writer director
Yep,
created,
I agree.
and the chemistry he has with his repeat actors and actresses that he brings in really pays off.
It I agree wholeheartedly. And you get to the point to where you really not only do you love the characters that they're presenting, but you love the actors and actresses themselves. In this show, Midnight Mass is of no exception to that. Chris and I both have talked about this, and we don't normally do a lot of talking about the show. We want the show to be itself very natural conversational uh type thing. But in the past, we were all the time going, "Hey man, what are you watching?" And I'd say,
Yeah,
"Oh, Devil in Ohio," and he's like, "Oh, I've seen that, that's really good." And he goes, "Hey man, have you seen Midnight Mass?" I'm like, "Oh my God, yeah, it's great." It's one of our favorites. To me personally, it's kind of right now I'm kind of tossed. Is it my absolute favorite, or is it between this one and House of Usher?
yeah.
Or could even be,
It becomes one of your favorites
yeah.
because it's hard to place, especially when you run Flanagan versus Flanagan.
Yep.
There the because of everything is so similar, his way of storytelling,
Yep.
and this is a perfect example of this. This horror show, the series, um, starts off with um, what you believe is our main character, Riley, who
Yes.
we're following. Um, and it's a beautiful shot of the scenery of a city. You've got Neil Diamond blasted in the background.
Oh, the music in this show is so well
Uh,
used. So well
and
used.
we roll up on a automobile accident. There is a poor young girl on the ground. They're performing life-saving procedures on her, and there is an intoxicated Riley on the side of the road speaking with an EMT, who looks to be just banged up a bit, a couple cuts on his face, and they stop the life-saving procedures, and this poor girl is no longer with us, and the EMT's haunting words of so is the drunken asshole that walks away from these things, and it's the innocent kids that get hurt
Yeah.
and die.
Oh, So, that's a really a great paraphrase, Chris, and it is. When he says it, you again, this is Flanagan's way. It's real conversation that you would hear someone say. It's a comment that someone would say, and it kind of lets you know that early on that he's not going to be pulling a lot of punches with this show.
Mhm.
And it immediately goes from there to the courtroom scene.
Yeah, and you get this Riley like not understanding. Like, she gonna be okay?
Hmm.
And we switch to the courtroom to where it's you've pleaded guilty to the charges in front of you, basically a vehicular manslaughter charge. And do you submit to the sentencing of the court? And he's like, you know, I throw myself at the court basically.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
he's owning this. I screwed up. Someone lost their life. That family on the other side of the courtroom is without somebody. Like, hit me with whatever you got,
Yeah,
because
yeah, he's definitely not trying to get out of his judgment at all.
no,
He's
no,
definitely taking responsibility and saying, "Hey, I did this,"
right.
which I thought,
And
shows a lot to his character.
yep, and we get a voice cameo from one of our other actresses that follow Flanagan around, Gerald's Game being one of them, Carla
Yes,
Gugino.
yes,
She is the judge that hands down the sentence of 4 to 10 years in the state prison um, for these charges. And we go from the courtroom to him in his cell. And here's where the cinematography really kind of grips you and it becomes a character in this movie,
it really does.
because you get this turning and you realize it's him laying down and everything is standing up as you would see it laying down on your side.
As it's tilting slowly.
And you're looking at it, and it's the first of a jump scare that you get from the show.
Yeah,
You have the poor young girl that was on the side of the road
yes,
who is now in front of him. And we lead to this of you see the flashing lights and you're like, oh, he's having a flashback of
yeah,
why he's in prison. And the jump scare of the ghostly visage of this poor girl.
yes.
And you realize that the flashing that's going on is not a sparkling, it's the glass that's embedded in this poor girl's face, and it's reflecting the red, white, and blues of the police and the emergency vehicles.
And it's really funny because
Ooh,
the first time I saw it, um, excuse me, the first time I saw it, um, I didn't realize that's what I was looking at. I
it,
was just seeing the sparkles, and I
it
was like,
comes off as a
yeah,
sparkly, ghostly kind of
yeah.
thing.
And
And
and I don't think there's anyone out there right now who does spectral ghosts, that type of thing, specters any better than Flanagan.
yeah,
House on Haunted Hill and Bly Manor are definitely proof of that. And
mhm,
and that's kind of one of his, if you want to call it a trope of his, the sleeping or about to sleep ghost is one of the things that he uses, and he uses it so effectively. So yeah,
yeah,
again, the first time I saw it, I was like, "What is this all about?" I didn't really understand, but as the show goes on, you come to find out that this happens every single time he
every
lays down to go to
night.
sleep.
He
Um,
sees her every night.
yep,
And now it gives you a taste of the where Riley is at, you know, every night for the past 4 years, because we fast forward again that 4 years later, we're introduced to this island in the middle of nowhere. It's got a population of 127.
yes,
Like, ooh, middle of nowhere, like island, cool. Okay, where are we
yeah,
going? I got a guy that's being haunted by the poor girl that he unalived in a car accident. Okay, maybe we're going that way.
yep,
And again, the music playing. Was it Solomon
yeah.
from with Neil Diamond
Yeah,
again? And
this wonderfully pop oriented, makes you feel good song, and you see the ship come in. The It's not really a ship; it's a
small
ferry,
ferry,
a
yeah,
ferry, right, coming in, and you get introduced to the local drug dealer.
Right. Right.
whose nickname is Bowl. I thought that was great.
Bowl.
Bowl.
That was great.
You know, like they said in the show, at least his nickname's not Bong, right?
Right. It
Um,
could have been worse.
could have been worse. And he's dealing to the kids,
Kids, which you find out is Riley's younger brother,
correct,
his, you know, friend, his the other kid basically on the island that's his age,
right,
um,
and
and the
Allie,
sheriff's
the
son,
the sheriff's
Ali.
son.
Yeah.
Um, eh,
And they go to meet. I love this. They pull up to the ferry. They're waiting for Bull to get off. Like, so this is a tiny place.
yes,
And there's like three people on the damn ferry.
right.
So like you guys aren't being low key at all about this.
No, and how could they be, right? Because I mean,
No,
again, they're the only, there's hundred every if you guys have ever been around anyone who's raised in a small town, they will tell you everyone knows everyone's business. Period.
oh, absolutely.
And this isn't a small town. This is a micro town.
It's a micro town on an island.
Yes.
That
That
there's two ships
yeah.
coming in every day. It's if you don't get on the breeze, then you got to get on the bell.
Yep,
Um,
and it's not like you're going to get on it or it's not like you're going to miss one and get on the other one in 10 minutes. It's you're going to get on this one now or you're going to get on that one at the end of the
right.
day.
If it's running, for
If
that
it's
matter.
yeah, if it's running. If it's running,
Yeah.
exactly.
So you get to when we're kind of introduced to this island. It's obviously a fishing island. That's the main, I would say, occupation of everyone on the island. There's a lot of boats. The port is a big thing that's
Mhm.
there. The ferry brings them back and forth. So obvious their life is revolving around boats.
Right.
So it makes sense. It's a tiny town. They've got a little church that has mass, a little Catholic church that's there. Again, doesn't really kind of come out as something odd.
Nope.
It's a tiny town. Tiny towns, there usually is a main denomination.
Yep.
And a town this small, it's a Catholic, um, you know, settled town,
Right.
if you would.
And the thing that I liked about this is that, Riley is on this boat. This is at the end of his sentence and he comes home and his mom Annie meets him
Hmm.
at the dock and she is so happy to see her
To get her
son
boy back.
home, right? And she's like, I'm going to love him. I'm going to hold him. I'm going to help nurture him back. And you see that as they're walking home, that everyone else on the island that they come to kind of side eyes him.
Yeah, it's a small town. They all know that he was in an accident.
That he killed
Poor girl
someone.
lost her life, and he went to jail for it. So
Right.
obviously he did it. He's a bad person,
Yep. Yep.
and that's the look that he's getting through the town. Mom is oblivious to it all. Mom is like, my son is home. I love him.
Yeah, mom's got her blinders on because as every mom does, they're going to give their kid the benefit of the doubt until they can't any longer.
Right.
And so
And dad is a little different. Dad,
dad's
you can
angry.
get dad. When she's talking to Riley, like setting it up, you make sure you get on this ferry, blah blah blah. He's just like, you know, and make sure to step outside. Oh, I'll get your dad, put him on the phone. Now he's outside. Oh, and mom's making excuses for him
Yeah.
because she loves her boy, doesn't want to hurt her boy anymore. Knows he can't be doing well.
Yep.
Because he comes out with that 1,000 yard stare. He obviously came out of prison seeing this ghostly visage every night.
Hmm.
We're talking not haunting his dreams, but haunting his waking hours.
Yep.
He's not sleeping because all he sees is her. That this poor guy is broken.
Yeah.
This is, it's where are we going to go with this?
Yep. And
There's a lot of sorrow here.
the family dynamic here is so well played by Henry Thomas playing Ed
Mm,
Flynn as the father. And they are just they um wow. I can't get over and I hate to just continue gushing, right? It's more interesting when
yeah.
you talk about things you don't like, but um between Kristen Lehman and Kristen playing Annie Flynn,
Hmm.
um which we have to mention now. Annie has eyesight issues. She's wearing glasses, and the father
He
has back issues, and
some main at least some back issues because he's outside. He's hot hacking on his cigarette. You can see he's tensed up and in a lot of pain.
he sounds like he might have something major going on with his lungs and so forth very early
Yeah,
on, and so you're immediately kind of worried about them, but their
right.
dynamic between the two of them, you can tell that that as husband and wife, they truly love each other, and they love their sons. The dad's just having a real hard time coming to grips with everything that's happened, and he's
Mhm.
having a hard time showing his emotion. So and so this is, again, it feels like, it doesn't feel like you're watching a family on a show. It feels like you're watching a relationship of a real honest to God
Yeah.
family.
And you can tell that these people are working hard to make a living here.
Yep.
You
They're
get the
scratching it out.
yeah, you feel that this town, this tiny little town, is very poor. That all the money in this town, they've got a beautiful church and a beautiful rectory. Everyone else's houses are in some form of
Yep.
disrepair or patched. You get this real feeling that there's something going on in this town that's off.
Well, you also find out in the first episode that there was an oil spill
Right.
that shut down a lot of the fishing. So these people who were making a good decent living, um, now all of a sudden can't, and the oil company makes them all an offer. And one of our lead ladies in this movie, Miss
Mm.
Bev Keane, is she's a member of the church. She sees herself as being very pious, and a very holy lady, in her eyes. To a lot of other
Mhm.
people in the town, they think that she's very unholy. Um,
Yeah.
but
Oh, that Bev.
yeah, she is a character that you will love by the end of this. Well, I don't want to go to the end.
Yeah.
You,
Nope.
you no, you start to see that her interactions with people, she's very manipulative. She's not very likable, um,
Condescending,
very
passive
condescending,
aggressive.
and she's in Samantha. Is it Sloan? I think that's how you pronounce it.
Sloan. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she is so good in this role. Oh my God,
Which is funny because she's a very pretty girl, and
beautiful,
the
beautiful
way
lady.
they put her makeup and her hair, she's the drawn back church biddy
Yep.
that is going to become an older woman, holier than thou.
Yep.
I, it's that being introduced to that. I grew up religious, but not institutionalized religion.
I get it.
Um, so we went to church sometimes. I went to church with my wife for quite a bit of time, and I always had a problem in church where you would see these people that, you know, we're all together in the congregation. Peace be with you. Peace be with you. You're making friends with the people around you in the pews. When church is over, be careful
They'll run
going to
over you
your
in the
parking
parking lot.
spot because they'll run you over to be first out the parking lot.
Uh,
And you get that feeling with Bev. She's that woman.
oh my God, it's so funny that you said that because my wife, I love it, and I don't think she would mind me saying this. She says that she's a recovering Catholic, and
Right.
that was one of the things that she said. The exact same thing. That is, they would sooner run over you in the parking lot than look at you, but as soon as you walk in the doors, they're, and she, that's the one of the things she doesn't, and that's, but you're right, that is Bev.
Yeah.
Bev will cut you, and Bev will cut you and then find a way to convince you that either A, you did it yourself, or B, it's the best thing that could have happened to you.
Right. And it's a religious experience.
Yes,
Um,
yes, yes.
and not for nothing, I grew up somewhat Episcopal, which is Catholic light.
Hmm.
It is all of the saving, half the guilt.
Right.
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 So,
Um, so yeah, oh gosh. And then
so also at the same time as the ferries coming on, we've got Bowl coming out to deal some weed to
mhm,
the local kids. We've got Riley coming off of it, but we're also waiting for Monsignor, an old priest, to be getting off the boat. He's supposed to be coming back from his mission
Yes.
that he went to Damascus to see the sights on the Holy Walk. And where is he? We don't know. We see a mysterious person dragging a trunk into the Monsignor's,
Yes.
into the parish, into
The Monsignor's living quarters.
the living quarters.
And I love that Bev is like berating them on the boat, like going, "Yeah,
So,
how could you have missed him?" And
did
blah
you
blah.
see him?
Did you? Yeah.
How did you miss him?
How do you make? And the guy's like, "Well, I guess he could have gotten mixed in with the crowd." And I'm
The
laughing. I'm like, the
crowd.
crowd of three people.
Yeah,
Oh, so funny. So at this point in time, we
yeah,
think the priest is MIA.
yeah. We're not sure what's going on. You get this trunk that moves in, and you get that thumping, and you're like, "Whoa, what is happening
Yeah,
here?"
yeah. Literally, the young man uh drags the trunk in and sets it down, and he reaches down and unlatches it, and all of a sudden you hear
Mhm.
this boom, boom, boom thumping on the inside, and
Yeah,
that's the scene. That's the whole scene, and you're
that's
literally
it.
sitting there going like, what
What's happening
what's
now?
happening? And
What's going on?
okay, all right, so let's move on.
Right. And we have the kids that, of course, what's his name? The friend, Warren's friend. Warren
Ooker,
is Riley's brother. Um,
Ooker, I can't remember how you pronounce it.
yeah, I forget.
I
But
think it's Ooker anyway, and then
Uker,
and
yeah,
him and Ali,
him and Ali, they're riding through the island. They come across
Lizzie.
Lisa, and that's obviously Warren's little crush.
Yeah,
And it's funny because Ugers gives Ali crap about like you're gonna narc, you're gonna narc, you're gonna tell on, you're gonna tell your sheriff's your dad, and Ali's like, fuck the sheriff, like,
yeah. It's like,
and then they stop and he's like, Warren's like, hey, you want to go to the uppers and smoke some pot with us? And Ali's over there going, you're worried about me narking?
yeah, as you're yelling this out where anyone within
Your
a
boy's
radius.
in the middle of the street announcing it, showing the little baggie, and you're worried about me?
Yeah, and I love the fact that Lisa's mom immediately comes out onto the porch, and they're like, sucking the stuff in, like, "Oh, how are you,
Hi.
ma'am?"
Right,
you know,
right.
you get that oh, what was the friend on Leave It to Beaver, right? Where he's like,
Oh, yeah.
well, how are you, Mr.
Right, right,
It's so
right.
funny. So funny.
And it's like, "You wanna come with us?" And she's like, "No, I don't wanna smell like cat shit."
Yeah, which is really
Uh,
funny.
okay, that's weird. We don't know what that is, some sort of inside joke. I think she talking about whatever they bought off a bowl, or I don't know, who knows? But as they decide, "Okay, we'll see you later," they ride off. You see that she's in a wheelchair, and
Yes.
she heads inside the house, and you're
Yes.
like, "Oh, there's something going on there. This poor young girl in a wheelchair."
Yep. And in this
Okay.
episode, you also find that uh, Joe Collie is the town drunk, and apparently, just like Andy Griffith, Joe would take Otis's spot, just kind of wander into the sheriff's jail and spend the night, sleep it off.
Right.
Um,
Great moment
yes,
between him and the sheriff. He calls him Sharif as a play on the fact that he is a Muslim sheriff in the
yes.
middle of nowhere. Um, and it comes off friendly. It doesn't come off as being mean.
You don't. Yeah,
It's his play on the racism kind of it that
and you can tell that Sheriff Hassan has is treating Joe with a modicum of respect, which
right.
is why Joe is able to laugh and joke with him without it becoming an issue.
And he reciprocates it in a way of not bowing down and like you're the cop or whatever.
Yep.
It's I'm gonna rib you too. And it's funny because he's waking up and he's like, why'd you lock me in here? And he's like,
He reaches up,
it's
just
not
grabs the
like
door,
here's a
slides it
coffee,
open.
dude.
So funny. So
What a
funny.
coffee. So you get this. This is what this guy does. He gets wasted. He gets a little belligerent. They throw him in the drunk tank for the night so he can sleep it off. He wakes up. gives the sheriff some shit. Sheriff gives some shit back, gives him a coffee. That's
and
their
and
relationship.
and basically, pats him in the tail and sends him on his way. Well,
Right.
you as Joe's leaving the combination jailhouse local store, literally the sheriff's office is one
Yeah.
room with a
Like a
jail in
broom
the back,
closet.
in the broom closet in the back of the store. As he's leaving, um, his dog is tied up on the front porch, and Bev Keen is walking by, and the dog is barking at Bev. Well, Bev lies on the dog and says, "Oh, this dog's a menace. He tried to bite me and snap at me, and you got to do something about this, sheriff." Laying the seeds for some things that happen later in the
Right.
show.
She definitely doesn't like the dog she egged the dog on. She does not like Bill Collie.
No, and Bill
Um,
Colley does not like her, and has literally said, that she's been this way since grade school. So these
right.
two have known each other for a very, very long
So
time.
that tells you that this is a very close community. These
Yes.
people have known each other for a very long time. Now, let's quick go back to the night before where our young kids
Oh,
it's
sorry
a
about that.
yeah, it's a traditional thing that you get into this boat and you row out to the upwards, which is basically a smaller island off the main island. Nothing really there. Things washes up there in storms
It's
and
it's like a dune kind of thing.
yeah, there's not much to it, but we go there to get high. Now, I will say this being when I was younger, a lot of people I've heard when I was watching some reviews about this years ago, people saying, all of this to go smoke some. I will tell you, the adventure to find some place in the middle of nowhere to where your paranoia of getting caught doing it is low enough
Yep.
is part of the thing. I remember walking for a long ways to find a back way into a cemetery where we found a kid that was our age.
Yep.
His name was Luke, and we sat with Luke, and that's where we go get high with Luke. We would call it, let's go visit Luke. And we would hang out with this in the graveyard because this kid could have been one of our friends. He
Yep.
passed too soon. So, yes, getting in a boat, going out to the perfectly believable to find a place to get away from the 123 people
Yeah,
on
and
the island
and
that
and
might
there
get you in trouble.
there are times in this first episode where you actually see overhead views of the island, and they really, if they didn't go off island, they really didn't have a place
There's
to go
nowhere.
because someone would see or smell it
Oh yeah.
easily. Take it from someone who walks out his front door and smells marijuana smell almost on a daily basis, and I can't stand the smell of it.
Oh
Um,
jeez.
um, it's like it's very distinguished, and very easily, it would
Very
be very
pungent.
easily to find where it's coming from if you were on
Oh
that
yeah.
small island. So them getting off the island was kind of imperative in order for them.
Absolutely.
And not only that,
And
but it was also tradition. You come to find out
yeah.
that even the adults used to do that. They might sneak a couple beers out and go out with
Yep.
their
Go out to
friends.
the uppers. And
Yep.
apparently that's where people would drop off these cats. So it's a tiny little island
Mhm.
full of cats.
Yep.
So very creepy. This place is
Oh
the
my gosh,
creepiest thing
it's
because it's in the middle of
so
nowhere.
yes.
It's not near a city. So city shine, light shine. It's when dark, it's dark.
Yeah, there's no ambient light at all.
Especially if you've ever been somewhere that's not near a port or whatever on the water. Water at night is a whole nother animal.
Yep.
That's a different type of blackness altogether.
Yep.
So to hop in a boat and to go out to another island, there's this creep factor to it. And you're with these kids and they're smoking their stuff and you see
Sitting
the
around a little
eyes of
pond.
the cats.
Right, you see the light of the fire that they have is reflecting off the cat's eyes, and it's
Oh,
really such a well shot scene because you see the lights of the, just like you see at night when you see a
hmm,
cat's or a raccoon or whatever, their eyes, how it glows back at you. You see them on and then blinking out, and then
yeah.
on and blinking out, and
And some
yeah,
of them blinking and moving and blinking and so there's a lot going on in the backgrounds of the shot on top of our poor kids are like glazing cat shit
yeah, and then you see Hassan, Ali, Ali and Uker, and the cat's eyes are not on the ground. They're about 6 to 8 feet off the ground,
yeah
reflecting
they're
back.
up in the air and You get that moment where they're like, "Whoa," and it's gone. Like the eyes are gone.
Hmm.
It's just a second of we just see like that
What?
was a pretty tall cat.
Yeah. What was that? What was? Oh,
Yeah, what's going on?
it was
Um,
so well done.
and as they decide they're going to get out of here and they're going to leave, you're left with these cats, and you see, the cat come out of the bushes and walk around, and then you see another cat come towards the bushes, and then we got a weird view from the bushes at this cat that just gets snatched up,
Yep.
and you hear the scream. So now there's some sort of creature.
Yeah.
We saw those eyes.
Yeah,
There was definitely
it's
something
a
happening.
predatory view. It was really, and again, so not overstated and so
Hmm.
well done. And it literally is the creep. This first episode is a lot of character building. I mean, I mean,
Yeah.
you've got I think 8 different characters that their backgrounds and stuff are starting to be fledged this
Hmm.
early on. But he Flanagan has a way about him to where he
And
builds
how
that
he's
creep.
blending these characters together is great
Yes.
too.
Yeah, oh,
Uh,
absolutely. Absolutely.
you're given the contrast of mother and son to the nasty old biddy
Yep.
that looks down on both of them.
Yep.
One for the woman being pious and embracing someone who killed someone,
Yep.
and the murderer himself.
Yeah, and then his long lost girlfriend, Erin Green,
Hmm.
who's now the school teacher on the island. She's looking down on her because she's an unwed pregnant lady
Pregnant woman. Yep.
who's also being seen in town with Flynn, and oh my God,
Yeah.
it's
There's a wide web that this throws
yes,
out, that
yes.
all of these characters are connected, and it gets better coming in the coming episodes.
It
This
everyone
really
gets
just
flushed.
lays out our main people, and we have a mass, and this mass is we're introduced to Father Paul, and
Which is really cool the way that they did this because Father Paul, until the time that he walked down the aisle, they had
mhm.
no clue who was going to be running the mass at that point.
Yeah, we didn't find Monsignor. That we heard that there was a replacement sent, which was what Paul was communicating through.
Yep.
Um, and he comes out in what would be the Easter robes,
Right.
the golden robes.
The
He
special
gives them,
occasion robes.
introduces himself. I'm sorry, you're expecting the Monsignor. The Monsignor's on mainland. He's not doing well. You all know the state of his mental state,
Right.
which now we're being told like, okay, he'd lost his marbles.
Yep.
He was like 90 years old. So Father Paul,
Dementia.
he's here to replace him.
Right.
I'm gonna, continue to take care of his flock.
And
And
as soon as he's better, he'll be back.
absolutely, if you have no fear, he's on the mend. Which, you're thinking the way they describe this poor old, priest, that
Yep.
he's into late stages of dementia and he's not coming back.
But he's also so convincing in the hey, he fell ill, he's in the hospital, he's being taken care of, he's doing great,
Right.
we expect him to make a full recovery.
Mhm.
It's like so you're at this point in time thinking, okay, cool, so
Yeah,
we've
I
got this.
buy it. All right.
All right.
And he gives a great sermon. He's a very wholesome person. He
Yeah,
comes off
he
as a
comes
very
across
open person.
as he comes across as the everyday man, which is what you yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely what you would like to have
Uh,
in a
absolutely.
pastor.
What you would like to have somebody that is a man of God, you would like him to be approachable, and he
Uh-huh.
is. He's introducing himself to everybody. He's taking names and
Yep.
remembering names very quickly. I heard you're so and so, and you're so and
Yeah,
so, and I
and
noticed you didn't take communion.
the Monsignor
Um,
told me about you and that kind of thing. Yes.
Right, right. And he notices that Riley, didn't take communion because, if you're Catholic, you have to go to confession. There's a process in order to receive communion.
Exactly.
And so holding back is a respectful thing to do if you haven't gone through that
I
process.
love this conversation that Father Paul has with Riley when Riley says, "Well, he basically it just tells him, he goes, I'm struggling with my faith right now, and
Right.
Father Paul goes, I can work with that. You
Yeah.
know, the people who are really strong in their faith don't really need me that much. So just
And
know
you
that.
think there's a play on we've met Bev, who's very strong in the faith.
Oh yeah,
So it kind of comes off as, like she's not the person that needs me. You're
no,
the person that needs
you're the
me.
one that you're the one that you're the one that needs me, and I like
Right.
that because I have been involved with certain people that have been like, oh no, I'm going to cater to the ones who are, the ones who don't, the ones who need me the most are really the ones that are going to have to come seek me. I'll rely on those that are
Right.
on the Bev Kings of the congregation.
Right.
So yeah, I really like that thing. I also like the fact that the night before, Ryan was saying, I'm not going to church. And his dad said, oh, no, consider this part of your parole. You have to go to church.
Right.
I thought that was a pretty strong statement coming from the dad when he put his foot
Yeah.
down at the dinner table and went, listen here, mister, you're in my
You're going.
house. Well, and the reason I said that is because, okay, my own personal experience. My mom and
Hmm.
dad told me, you're in my house, you're under my roof. You will go to church once a week, period. I don't care where you go. I don't care
Right.
what religion you go. As long as it's a Christian religion, this is their words. As long as it's a Christian religion, you will go somewhere
Right.
once a week. And so when he put his foot down, I was like, that'd be my dad. I get it. Okay, cool. I get that.
Right.
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 So
And it's nice. You get that feeling of he's meeting everybody. And we've got Bev that comes in after the mass is over and gives him crap, because
yep.
obviously you're talking to a priest who's somebody who went and it's not like you just don the robes one day. You go and study these things,
Yes.
and you become a priest. It's not
Yes.
just something that happens. So it's funny that she goes to hit Father Paul and is like, "Wow, saw you wearing the gold. That's for Easter.
Yeah. And
You should be wearing." And he's like, "Hey, listen, Monsignor wasn't quite right in the head. I think he might have put it in a cabinet somewhere."
yeah, this is all I could
But
find on such short notice.
it makes sense though because it represents a new beginning,
Right.
and I see it as a new beginning. Me being here, and you're like, okay,
The reason I like this scene so much is because this is Bev asserting herself the way that Bev does, which is to undercut you and make you
yeah,
question yourself. And she literally basically just said to Father Paul, I'm not a pushover. I understand what's going on. I understand the word. I understand, Catholicism.
right,
I am the one. I'm the glue that holds us together. She might as well have said, I'm the one who got all the donations from these people when they took the hush money from the oil company that I told them to take to build the
right.
rec center, right?
And build your church
And,
or
and
this church that
yeah,
you're taking over. It's my
exactly.
church.
And she sees it as her church.
Absolutely.
And so that's it's a really it was a really nice interplay of that conversation.
Yeah, and the rest of the day we learned that there's a big storm coming, and they've got to batten down the hatches.
Yes,
Now, they explain how this island, if there's a big storm coming, it's done
it's a
some
deal.
damage.
It's a deal.
Um,
Yep.
there is a cell phone tower on the island that is their only form of communication.
Yep.
There's a generator that runs the island that's there for just in case. So you've got Sturge, who's the island's handyman,
Yep.
going around making sure the generator's ready, making sure this. You've
Being
got
sure
people
that the
boarding up
power is
their
actually
houses.
physically disconnected so that if anything
Hmm.
happens, there's no fires and all that stuff,
Right.
right?
There's a process for all of this. You see everybody boarding up. Everybody's building up um, their defenses against
Exactly.
the storm. Um, and it comes off as there's a battle brewing.
Yes.
Um, it really kind of comes off that way. You get the talk between Riley and Aaron where that it's that we really tried to get out of here
Yep.
and we got screwed into coming back. Like it
And we
sucked us
swore we'd
back in.
never come back, but yet here we are. And I will say this: there was a line that Aaron, at the very end of their conversation, there was a line that Aaron said to Riley that that actually it made me it really made me feel the deep connection that these two actually had. And that's when
Oh yeah.
Riley's like, he's like, I feel like I'm floating. I feel like I have no purpose, and
Hmm.
being here on this island um is making it worse.
Yeah.
And Aaron said, well, you basically need to find something to do. um so for today, let's focus on the storm,
Right.
and then tomorrow let's find something else to focus on,
We'll find something
something
else.
else to
And
do. We'll find something else for you to do.
right.
To me, that was a real touching scene, because it showed that she knew who he was.
Hmm.
Two, that she truly did still care for him,
Oh
as
yeah.
we don't know if it's as a love interest or not, but she does care for him. They have a kindred spirit between the two of them.
Absolutely. And it seems like Riley's only tether at the moment, besides his family.
Yep.
Well, his mother mainly.
Yeah.
We get the way that he's treated from his father, that his father's embarrassed over him, and as well as now you're back home, and I've got to take care of you.
And he's there because he doesn't have a choice to go anywhere else.
Yeah, he
He
has to show up for his probation hearings, which means getting on a boat
Yep.
and
And
going over.
in his probate, as he has AA meetings that he has to attend as part of his
Hmm.
probation, and his dad says he has to go attend church part of as part of his probation. Um,
Right.
but it's really, again, the interplay between these characters is what, at this point in the show, yes, there's not a lot that goes on horror wise in this first episode, but there is so much that is drawing you into these people, that I'm by
Hmm.
the end of this first episode, I'm actually starting to like going, I I'm rooting for Riley and Aaron to get together.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for someone to
I
put
no idea what's going on right
none.
now, but man, there is a lot of sorrow on this
Yeah,
island.
and,
Like,
and and I'm really hoping that someone finds a way to put Bev Keane in her place, and I don't even know what Bev Keane's
right.
up to yet.
I hope the dog bites her.
Exactly. So, and I'm hoping that the sheriff finds a way to okay, another Bev moment that was wonderful. That they're having this
Mm,
town meeting, the mayor, his wife, a couple of other people, Bev, Aaron, and the sheriff, about what to do for the storm, how to make everyone safe. And the sheriff hasn't been there. He doesn't know that everyone, basically, congregation or not, come to the church. If they don't
right.
have a way to stay safe at home, they come to the church and they take care of them. The sheriff's in his mind, which makes perfect sense, right, is go to the school. We can, and
Right.
but the way Bev puts him in his place, really, especially with the mayor in this room, you begin to
Hmm.
realize very quickly that Bev runs a lot of this town all through her manipulation.
Manipulation and the use of fear of God. Um,
Mm.
that
Great way to
it's
put it.
it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, as that she sows that in the people, and you feel you can't help but feel the racism that's slung at the sheriff for being different in this town.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
it
Absolutely.
comes off thick from Bev, and it's a disgusting moment. You now it's really sowing the seed by the end of this series. You have feelings
Yeah, she
towards this woman.
yeah, she doesn't care that he's of a different nationality.
No,
She only cares that he's not Christian.
he's
That's
not Christian,
and that to
and
her
he's
means
not Catholic.
that means
But
everything.
if you want to be converted, come on by.
Yeah.
Come on,
And
stop in and talk.
you're always welcome in to come to our service. It would probably make people feel better. Just let you know that
Right.
you're part of the community. Just the
Yeah.
way she oh.
Yeah, that you have to be part of the church service in order to be part of the community. It comes off just, and you see that there are people that are subservient to
Uh-huh.
her. You've got
Uh-huh.
Sturge, the island's handyman, follows her around.
The
And
mayor and
the
his
mayor
wife are both, like, under
are
her thumb
skittish.
somehow.
Like they come off as we're in charge only as a show because you can see
Exactly.
that inner cringe when she comes to them like
Yep.
we're doing everything right, right?
Yep. So
Uh,
Aaron sets which is really funny because you would think with their history with that storm coming in that Ryan would stay with Aaron, but he didn't. He went home to be with his parents,
right.
which I thought
And
which I thought was a nice touch.
it's good. He's still he's lost, and it makes sense.
Yep.
You know, you don't read it's and he's not only is he lost, but he is very aware of being lost.
Yeah.
He you'll find out that he's tried ways to find himself,
Yep.
and um and he's very aware that I'm not in a place right now, and
Yep.
going back home is a smarter idea. They're
I
gonna wait out the
I
storm,
agree.
see what happens. Now, storm's coming.
Yep.
It's rain, there's thunder, there's lightning, there's wind. You can see this island's getting rocked around. And Riley's looking outside and can't help but think that he sees a man in a trench coat and a hat.
Which would
The
be
trench coat and
the
hat
Monsignor who was
walking
supposedly
on the beach in a storm.
yeah, and he's supposed to be on the mainland in the hospital. So
Right.
Riley's really confused, and he tries to get his parents to look out, and they don't see. He gets his
They
brother to
don't
look
see it.
out. He doesn't see.
Classic Twilight Zone gremlin in
Exactly,
the sky. You know,
exactly,
he can see the weirdness. They can't see anything. They think he's breaking
right,
because their dad's been waiting for he's going to snap.
right.
He hasn't snapped yet. So
And so he runs out in the storm and tries to catch up to this 90 something year old or 80 something year old man who's got Alzheimer's or dementia, which they don't really clarify which one it is,
right.
and he can't catch him.
No, he's a very strange shape,
Uh-huh.
but yep, trench coat, hat,
Yep.
running away. A weird flash of a face as he turns back
Yep.
that you're not quite sure what you see until he vanishes into the wind.
Yep. And so then, of course he makes his way home. He's like, I must have been mistaken. I didn't see what I thought I saw, blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
And they get up the next morning and they're getting and Dad's getting ready to go to work, and Riley's walking out because he's got to go to the mainland to go to his meeting,
yep.
and they notice the gulls,
Yeah, you
hundreds.
got Warren saying something's going on because of the birds.
Right, there's hundreds of them, and Ryan's like, Dad, you got to come see this. And next thing you know, the mayor's there and sheriff's there, and there's hundreds upon hundreds of dead cats.
That have
So what
washed up on the shore.
washed up on the shore. So what we again, the conversations that just seem like nothing or that pay off. When the kids were on the island, one of the boys said, "Oh yeah, everything that comes off this island winds up washing up on the beach." And
On
I
the
have,
West Bank,
and
and it's
yeah,
by my house.
and I have to help clean it up. It's just part of what I got to do. I don't like doing it, but I do it, kind of thing. Well,
Right,
the storm washed all this stuff up off the island onto the west shore, and it was cats,
all of them.
all of them. So when you were seeing all those eyes flicker, um, they're all on, and as they're looking at them, every single one of them has their neck broken
Yeah,
and
it
ripped.
looks. They looked mangled. They
Yep,
looked, and this is how we leave the first episode
yep,
of us seeing a beach as far as you can see through the island covered in cats.
yep,
And what is going on? There's a creature out there. There's something, a ghost or
yep.
something. Riley's chase. We'd have no idea what's going on. All we know is that episode one is over and there's dead cats. Now, if you watched just episode one to come listen to us talk and didn't watch episode two, you need to leave a comment down there because I
Absolutely.
couldn't. I got episode one done and I'm like, oh, we're watching two.
And yep, and the funny part about that is I even on the second viewing, as soon as I got done with one, I had to watch two. There's
Yeah,
a certain it's all this show pulls you in, and for everyone who didn't get pulled into it, it's generally because this first episode is a very dialogue heavy show.
yes.
Um and 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 they didn't go on. If they would have immediately went on to the second episode, they would have been hooked as we are. So here's my personal final thoughts on this show. Midnight Mass episode 1 is called Book of Genesis, right? Each episode is named after a book. Genesis, of course, meaning the beginning.
Right.
It was a really slow burn,
Yes.
but to me, that helped build the tension. The creep factor went out the roof on this one.
Yeah.
It gave us, the viewer, uh, a lay of the land as far as the island's concerned. It also
Yeah.
gave us a lay of the community, with all of its twisty turny type characters. Everything from the town drunk to the ultra pious Bev to the good hearted sheriff and Aaron, and everything that's going on with everyone in between. It's a really nice, tasteful way to get started.
Yep.
And it's only just begun. So, with that being said, I really hope that you guys decide to take this journey to Crockett Island with us for the next seven
Yeah.
weeks.
Next week we'll be covering episode 2,
Yes,
Psalms.
salts.
And yeah, take this journey with us, watching it through. If you've seen the movie and it's your second time through, I urge you to go and do it. The second time through, you pick up on the twists that you know that somebody that hasn't
Yep.
seen it doesn't know, but you pick up on all these little Easter eggs they leave for you, and you really realize the depth of sorrow in
Yes.
these characters and the weight that
Yes.
some of these characters are carrying. So,
And and
yes.
and with all that, I will say that if you get a chance to episodically watch the show with us, right?
Mhm.
And be careful, because eventually you're going to wind up having to go to the mass at midnight. And once you
Mm.
do, things are going to change.
Things are going to change.
Yes, they are. Is there anything
Yes,
else
they
you'd
are.
like to say about this show before we sign off, Chris?
Nope, I think that was a good stamp into Flanagan's universe of Midnight Mass.
Yes,
Great first episode. Can't wait to talk about episode 2 with you. And
absolutely.
nope. Come check us out. Bio.link/GraveRev.
Yes.
You can find us on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, email. You can go to our merch store, pick up a cool Grave Reviews t-shirt, coffee mug, stickers.
Or
It's all
or
there.
uh, or we also have, if you have an iPhone, we have a really cool Thursday Night Frights logo um, iPhone cover. It's beautiful.
Yes.
Really, really
It's
looks
good
cool.
stuff.
Definitely check us out. And please, if you've seen this show, let us know your favorite character. Put that in the comments. If there's questions that you have or statements that you want to make about this show or one of the upcoming shows, let us know that as well. Reach out to us on our email. Again, it's part of our bio link, and let us know what you'd be interested in us covering, or maybe you'd want to come in and help cover something with us. Um,
Absolutely.
that being said, Chris, would you like to sign us off tonight, sir?
I would thank you for joining us. We're still in the chat right now telling you thank you for joining us because we love all you. We love the Talking Dead. We'll see you on Tuesdays and Thursdays with some of and all of our content. Who knows what we're doing? Except for the next 7 weeks, we are doing Midnight Mass on Tuesdays.
Yes, we are. And that being said, as we always like to say when we sign off, till we meet each other again, hopefully that means this Thursday, may all your nightmares be groovy. Have a great night, everybody.